Everyone, welcome to Legal Limelight. Today I have a super amazing special guest, my dear friend and colleague, Pamela Weinstock. Pamela, thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you so much for having me, and happy spooky season.
I know. For those of you who have not seen me before, this is not my natural hair, and that's not the natural hat that she wears every day.
It may become the natural hat I wear every day.
It's so cute. It's so cute. Yeah, I tried my best to do a little I don't know. My artistic skills are not perfect.
I like it. It's very Halloween.
Yeah, no, this is so fun. Thank you for thinking of that idea. So we are now streaming live. It looks like on YouTube, on Facebook. I hope we're streaming live on LinkedIn. Last week I had some technical difficulties. So for anyone watching on LinkedIn, please comment so we can know if it actually is streaming. Yeah, I think we're live. Great. So Pamela, I'm so happy you're here. Pamela Weinstock, everyone, is an experienced general and in-house counsel whose career has spanned the fashion, arts, media, and entertainment industries, which we're going to refer to as fame. She's advised an array of top organizations, including global beauty company Coty, fashion and lifestyle company Kenneth Cole Productions, and the Writers Guild of America East, the Union for Television and Screenwriters. Based in New York, she chairs the International Trademark Association's Fashion Industry Group, and is on the steering committee of the National Association of Women Lawyers Fashion Law Affinity Group. Pamela, I'm super excited for this.
Me too. And thank you again so much for having me. I've been watching you kind of delve into this new world of social media as an attorney, and really just been floored with what you've been doing. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And also, hi, Eric Brightman. I'm just going to flash your comment real quick. We're working via
Hi,
LinkedIn.
Eric.
Super exciting. So, before we even get into the fun stuff, Pamela, what are your plans for this weekend and what are you being for Halloween?
Okay, well, I may have several costumes. We will see. There's this amazing Halloween party that I have gone to every year except the pandemic, which is happening again as we, kind of head back out into the world. So that's exciting on Saturday. And then for the first time this year, I'm actually going to be a zombie dancer in the Thriller piece in the Halloween parade in the village.
Oh my gosh, amazing. I need to see pictures.
There will probably be pictures and video all over the place.
Amazing. Good. So let's just get right into it. I actually want to start with what you just said about social media for lawyers, because yes, this has been something that is a little bit new and not as adopted for most attorneys, especially for lawyers who are in-house or work at bigger firms or any firm really, not just solos. This is definitely a new frontier, and I don't think it's going anywhere. Pamela, and I really, like I said this to you before, every single thing that you've said, positive about it, it literally keeps me going. So thank you. And I just want to share with everyone here and everyone who's going to watch the recording too. You're not seeing the comments that I'm getting. I'm sure you're thinking and you're having comments yourself, but if you're a little hesitant to it, I just want to share that I've been receiving feedback, not just from other lawyers who are at firms, but also very prestigious in-house counsel and general counsels who have reached out to me saying that this has been something that's really great to see their lawyers actually put themselves out there a little more and give information back to the community, but also connect with the clients in a new way. So if you're scared or nervous about starting, DM me and I'm happy to have a chat. And I also do these lawyer groups. I'm going to do a webinar, which I could share the link with for any lawyers who want to attend on how to use social media. Pamela, I think you're going to join that, right?
I will definitely join that. I watched part of another one of yours on that, and they're great. And I still need tutorials.
Yeah.
Slowly getting there.
Yeah, it's so new. I mean, like social media happened 10 years ago, right? But now it's really new. It happened 10 years ago. It started with young people. Then it integrated into businesses, and now it's just starting for lawyers. I think because of the pandemic, really. That's the reason why I started my account, but everyone's going to be on it in the next like 5 to 10 years, I guarantee.
And you are at the forefront, and we are watching you go. So
So actually, hi Lena. Lena is the partner at my law firm who heads up the litigation group. She's fantastic, and she just commented she likes our costumes. So
hi,
thank
Lena.
you.
Yes, everybody who is not watching these regularly should know that you have a dark wig on today. Normally you
Please.
have like fabulous blonde curls, and so this is kind of the Halloween thing that's
And
happening.
nails. I have
Oh, and nails. Oh, good for you. Yes, mine will happen probably in a day or two, the dark nails
yeah.
for my zombie outfit.
Oh my god, I can't wait to see pictures. Okay, let's get started, Pamela, because you're here, and a lot of people have signed up for this because of you, and they want to hear from you. So the first question I have for you is: did you know that you wanted to do intellectual property law specifically right out of law school?
I did actually. I'm an artist, and I have always um, done work as a painter and photographer. I played a few instruments growing up. I danced. So when I went to law school, the law that really dealt with the arts was the most interesting to me. So that's where I gravitated right away.
Amazing. And then specifically, is that how you ended up in the fame space, which is fashion, art, music, entertainment?
Yes, it is. As same thing, basically, those are the things that I'm interested in generally in my life. And so the law that surrounds it, I wanted to be involved with those worlds.
Amazing. So, and do you have any advice for students? Because I'm sure you get questions all the time. How do I become an in-house lawyer generally? And then people want to know, how do I become a music lawyer or a fashion lawyer? I get those questions all the time, and
I'm
I would
sure.
love to hear what you say.
Um, and yes, I get those questions all the time too, particularly as I think fashion law has really taken off as sort of its own separate space of the last number of years. Um, my advice really to those starting out or those who want to get into it is immerse yourself in the world of it, right? So sign up for CLEs that deal with the area, try to join committees or bar association events that deal with that, get to know the people, get to know the players, read about it, demonstrate an interest. And usually I have found that when hiring, people really want to see someone who's passionate about an area. So if you get on everybody's radar that you can, that takes you a long way towards landing something in the field.
It's so true. And also, I know you're not going to say this about yourself. Pamela is extremely smart. She graduated from NYU with her LLM and IP. She went to Yale, and then she went on to she was an associate at Fried Frank. So I think, and I should ask you this: like, do you think that students now, is it necessary? Do you recommend that they go to a firm to begin before they go in-house?
That is a very good question. And I do think that there is this, thought that circulates around that you really need to have a number of years at a law firm, preferably in the corporate area, and then you can take that and apply for in-house jobs. That may be one route to it,
Mhm.
but honestly, over time, I have seen there's really no one path. I have
Yeah.
seen lawyers that have been able to start in-house. I, was in intellectual property, some M&A, a lot of litigation as well. I was actually in the litigation department, and, was able to make the switch into in-house from there. I also find people that are in-house that go back to law firms. I think that there's no one path.
Especially now. I'm happy you said that, because that's the same response that I give too. And like, more than me, because you are you do have all the in-house experience. So I think that now I'm seeing everything. I'm seeing lawyers go right in-house immediately, either from their internships that they're doing, and then they stay on because they're already trained. And I get a lot of questions from law students who say, okay, no, I had this the other day, literally. One person asked me, I know I want to be an IP lawyer, but I also heard that I should just go and do big law no matter what. And so I'm applying to any big law job, irrelevant of whether it's IP. And
Right.
so, like, look, I said the same thing. There's so many different paths. And so if you start in the litigation group that's maybe not IP specific, litigation's a great skill set to then apply to do IP or whatever it is. But I said that at least you should try to do something where you have transferable skills, because if you're doing like real estate transactions and then try to do IP prosecution, what I'm seeing with most firms is that they're not really counting. Maybe they're counting those years a little bit, but it's harder to just go right in if you were third year, to go in as a third year trademark attorney when you don't know anything about trademarks. So
True.
yeah.
But I do know that there is that concern. You need to go in and get your big law training. But like you said, there are so many different things that are happening now, and I do see a lot of attorneys that start out in-house, maybe during law school. There's like an internship or an externship where they're already working at those companies, and that's a good route to then later get a job as an attorney there. Whether you go to a law firm right after law school and then circle back or not.
It's really true. I think it depends on the in-house team too.
It
Like
does.
if the in-house team is too busy and they can't train you, I mean, that's something that the student and the person applying should think about, because those junior years are pretty pivotal where you can learn some of these skill sets. And if you're just gonna not be able to learn as much in those roles, then maybe find another in-house role or another firm where you can kind of develop skills for the first couple of years.
Definitely.
So let's talk about like industry specific questions. COVID changed everything.
Right.
And I'm sure you're like attending a lot of the fashion and retail and even entertainment CLEs on how COVID has affected really the fame umbrella, whether it's IP or contractually and with litigation. So what do you think are some of the biggest legal concerns right now for some of the big brands in this COVID world? Like very high level, like what do you think some of the brands are dealing with more often?
Well, like you said, the whole world has moved online. And I think that was already the direction for a lot of retail. If you remember, before COVID, we had the retail apocalypse, where a lot of brick and mortar stores were shutting down, brands were closing a lot of stores, malls were closing. And, so there's already been this envisioning of what does the world of retail look like. And part of that was to move online, and to have your, retail space that might be in the physical world be more of a flagship, or a showroom almost, so that people can experience the products, to have, promotions going on there, and to have a lot of your line be available on e-com. So I think that the pandemic has really accelerated that.
Yeah.
And that's something that's new for a lot of brands. And how does that work in terms of getting attention and eyeballs to pay attention to what you're doing online, for big brands and emerging brands too? How do you kind of engage with social, right? Is that a way that you're going to make an impact? So I think that that is really one of the major shifts that we've seen. I think also, now that there are a lot of people not going into offices as much, I don't know what we're going to be going back to. So what do people need from a product assortment if they're going to be at home? There's people shifting their lines to more of a work from home type assortment, something maybe more comfortable, but maybe polished enough that you can have a Zoom call, right? So the apparel space. And also, how do you, again, back to what I said before with the physical stores, if a lot of them are in the areas that are downtown with a lot of office buildings and you're not getting the foot traffic because people are home, do you have pop-ups in, more residential neighborhoods? Do you, try to do something else? Like how do you address that? And of course, I think like the big problem has also been supply chain. But
no, definitely. I love that you started with like clearly the most important one that is affecting every single industry. It's affecting the legal industry. You're reading all these articles. I mean, I know a lot of lawyers who can't wait to get back to the office, and I know a lot that are hoping that they never have to go back. So, and I that may be like a generational thing, which is what these businesses are going to have to figure out. Like, what do we do about the mass amount of people that don't want to come back to the office?
Right.
It's really going to be interesting to see what happens.
It's fascinating to just watch it as it progresses, and a lot of people have a lot of ideas on that, right? So I think that a lot of companies were moving more towards open space or hoteling anyway. And again, it's similar to like the retail apocalypse, like to have like less of a sort of footprint in an office. I think a lot of people seem interested in a combination of being remote sometimes and sometimes coming in, which maybe where we land.
That's totally, I think, yes, I think that's what it's going to be. And if you look at the polls, people are saying it's about 50-50, where people say they want to go back or they don't want to go back. And then when they ask if they want flex hybrid, those are the numbers that are get higher. And Katie Staba.
Hi, Katie.
Great industry perspective from Pamela. Yeah, that you hit the nail on the head. It's amazing. So how did COVID affect your day-to-day and your life?
Well, again, I was now fully remote. So it was a very, I think, obviously different time for work. I found I was really, without going into an office, able to start my day very early, which actually was nice because I was working with a lot of people from Europe. So I might start with calls or emails at 7, 8 in the morning. And then, by the time lunchtime rolled around, I might take a break, maybe take a Zoom dance class, or, just do something a little bit different, and then, go back in the afternoon and then try to have, evenings for, again, more Zoom. I know we all have Zoom fatigue, but very important, for this whole time period, catch ups with, friends and family, maybe listen to a lecture. Also a lot of, television and movie binge watching, which I think we all did and kind of shared to kind of, the zeitgeist of whatever shows were kind of hitting everybody at the same time to watch.
I remember Tiger King was like,
oh my God. That was one of the first ones, right? Of like, just blew up.
Like, thank God for Tiger King.
Now Squid Games, I think.
Yeah, I know. No, it's just so interesting and so different. And like you said something that made me really resonated with me, because I have been able to like set up so many catch-up calls.
Oh
Just
yeah.
a simple email or simple DM. Hey, how are you? Can we catch up? And then I use Calendly, which I'm sure you're
Yes.
like, oh my God, what is this? This is
Oh,
amazing.
I experienced it the first time with you, actually.
Yeah.
Great program.
But it's just like easy because okay, then like, I want to meet with Francesca, but I have to go to my calendar and I have to find a time. Then I have to write back and forth with her, and it's just annoying. Versus like Calendly, you click, you find a time, and then it automatically sends you a calendar invite. It's
Right.
just great. So I have been able to actually keep in touch, and ironically, in this time where we're all kind of secluded and it's harder to be in person, I've really been able to take advantage of the virtual world and set up catch up calls. And I the Zoom fatigue I get, so I just do them as like phone calls, because you don't need to see me like on a Monday morning.
I have found a lot of people now moving back to, can we just have audio, right?
That's actually because my firm is mostly virtual. And so when I started, I thought that everything was going to be Zoom. And then they were like, no, we've been doing this for 10 years. Like everything's phone call. I'm like, okay, good.
Right. I mean, again, I think it's nice to have both, but, being on video all day long is a lot.
Yes. And then especially as women, the reality is we have to put on makeup, and it's really for both sexes, I guess. Like you need to look presentable, but to do it sometimes it takes a long time.
Right, right. Although it's interesting, I have noticed there is a little bit of a more dressed down, slightly more casual vibe that I think has become the norm and acceptable, and actually, works for this time. But
Yeah.
yes, there's always some stuff that has to happen, right? You have to have your presentable. I mean, you see the funniest products that they, have now, for sort of work from home, but it looks very professional on screen.
I know. And it's like sometimes all that matters is like this like little square, right? So anything that's
I'm
out.
looking at the little square. Yes, exactly. Everyone's always thinking about that.
So you can totally relate to this. A lot of people can relate to this. Most of our wardrobes were, I mean, my dry cleaning bill, everything was dry cleaning, because my whole wardrobe was suits or really nice dresses and blazers. And now I look in my closet and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have like a real, I need like a real wardrobe, whatever that means. So at some point I need to go shopping.
Yes, I think that's right. It is funny because I think that most people I speak to do have their part of their wardrobe that is really, their whole sort of, pandemic wear, right? And, starting to think about going back into the world and what does that look like? And actually for
What does
retail,
it look like?
what do people want to wear when they go
I
back?
know. And it makes you think like, are people
Comfortable,
gonna,
you know,
like,
do
are
they
people
want
gonna,
it like full bling because they have not been able to be out for so long in the world? Like, what are they looking for?
so yeah. And I went to a birthday party for the first time. Like it was literally the first time we're out. And I should preface this that it's because I have an 18-month-old and I'm pregnant again. So I've just been like really conscious, but they were with good friends. But to put on like a full face of makeup and hair and a like a nice outfit, it felt amazing. So it's going to be interesting. I'm sure people, once things kind of go back to normal, they're going to be eager to dress up again.
Did you look in the mirror and feel like you were a different person?
Oh, it was such a good feeling. I'm like, oh, there she is. Hi.
Right, exactly.
But it, like, especially with retail and cosmetics, a lot of my friends who are in this industry is advising uh, on the legal side, they're seeing a difference in, okay, we're making a shift from color to
Skincare.
skincare.
Yeah, that
Which,
that really has been a shift. Although, I mean, I think eye makeup is still kind of a big thing. You know, you go out and you have the mask, right?
yes, yes.
And
I
there's always
have
been
my
this
mascara right
concern.
here.
Sure, right. You know, if you wear lipstick, is it even going to be on your mask? Like, what's going to happen, right? You know, do you want to do that? And right, the renewed focus on skincare was really a big thing, which I think is also kind of the whole focus on, you know, wellness and everything else that was something that people were thinking a lot more about during this too.
Completely. Yeah, and like Lena just joked, can you wear yoga pants to court? Discuss. And then she'd be kidding. Because she's the litigator. Lena, you know more than us right now.
I may know some brands where that might work.
Oh my gosh.
They look like what's called hard pants, right? I don't know if you've heard this term.
No.
Yeah. You know, ones that kind of have a waistband and, you know, may zip as opposed to sort of the stretchy yoga sweatpants situation.
So maternity style.
Oh yeah.
Which I can't wait to get out of.
Right. I'm
Um,
sure. But yeah, it's like I think and that's what we're seeing in a lot of the clothes that are coming out, or a lot of when brands are trying to pivot, they would have something that looked tailored and, you know, looked more sort of professional and polished, but maybe was made of materials that were more stretch. I mean, we were already seeing that, you know, with all
yeah.
the, you know, stretch and tech and all of that, but something that looks fancy but feels like yoga wear.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We'll have to do like an updated one, hopefully this summer and fall when things get better.
Definitely. Yeah. See what happens.
But you mentioned a word that I love and is near and dear to me, wellness.
Yes.
So, how do you have any tips on how you have been staying healthy and happy during the time of COVID?
Sure. And you know, for me, like I said, I've been doing lots of dance and exercise. And I think also, yeah, and again, I think it is an overused word, but balance, right? And I think a lot of companies were actually recommending, you know, hey, everybody is at home. You can reach anybody day or night right in their home on the weekends. You know, things sort of shifted in terms of the way people work. So what do you do? And I think that a lot of companies were recommending make sure you take breaks, make sure you see if you can get some exercise, you know, talk to family and friends, read a book, watch TV, all the binging on the shows we were talking about. So you know, for me, I think that was also very important, to, you know, do those things. You know, I leaned in towards creativity. I actually also took up a new instrument, the darbuka drum. So I've been having Zoom lessons on that and
That's
playing,
so
and that's been
cool.
fun. And you know, I actually sat in, you know, for a song or two with a band in a restaurant when the world opened up and you were allowed to have, you know, outdoor dining, and restaurants were again open for that. So that was really fun.
Amazing.
You know, and I mean, I think, you know, yes, you know, cut yourself some slack. You know, nobody's perfect. You know, things were really, I think, a lot for everybody to handle during this, and just, you know, kind of taking a breather, being mindful, you know, any kind of, you know, meditation or wellness, you know, practices that you might have. There were so many apps that came out, right? You know, everyone's like, yeah, I joined on to Calm, right? So
Yeah.
all of those things. But I think, you know, just mostly trying to kind of pace yourself and lean towards things that bring you joy as well.
I love that. And I love the creativity piece because, and like you and I have talked about this, we're humans. Lawyers are not machines. Like there was this perception, it's a very traditional and like conservative perception that lawyers have to be stuffy in black suits with their hair pulled back. But that is it's really changing. And I think the expectations that clients are gonna have, like look at us. It's changing, and like especially with like I said before, like a general counsel at a really big company reached out to me and said like she loves what I'm doing. It's fresh, it's new, and I'm also able to am able to convey to my potential clients who I am as a person, which is something really important. Like at the end of the day, you can get really smart lawyers to do really good work, but you have to trust them. You have to trust them when, if they're not going to overbill you or if they're really going to have your best interest and kind of go above and beyond. There's a personality that goes into that and a relationship. And so it's like, do you want to enter into business and partner with someone who you actually like, know, and trust? Those three things we always hear, the like, know, and trust factor. And so as lawyers, we're able to use social media to really to show that. And so I thank you, Carolina, my former colleague. I hope you're doing well, is saying that. And so the creative part too is something that like I was like scared to talk about, but I love reading. I love writing. I wrote I wrote a fiction this summer because I was
Amazing.
yeah, but like it's just something that we can be more holistic. We can really be not just workhorses, I think. And I think there's an expectation of clients that they want to see more of that.
I completely agree with you. And I think if anything with this pandemic, where you're zooming into people's homes and you're, sort of talking to them, more than just in their standard work hours. And also just really everybody going through something of this magnitude together, other parts of your life. And, everybody kind of, I think, has formed bonds really through this. And we are whole, people, more authentic to who we are. And I think that that's sort of a huge development.
Yeah, there's one lawyer, I'm not going to say his name, but he actually signed up for this and I have to reach out to him and let him know. I love the stuff he posts on his Facebook. It's him, it's his life, and he is
Right.
outdoors and does all this
Yes.
like really cool music stuff. And he's at a very prestigious firm and he's a partner. And so I think for anyone who's not sure about this or is hesitant to put themselves out there, I don't think you have anything to lose as long as you stay professional and authentic. Like this is just another new way of connecting with people and marketing, really.
Right. But I mean, I think that you're right. And I think I know who you mean on the Facebook. I think that we're more than just our jobs and professions, and it is welcome. And again, like when I work with folks in the business, being in house, I think it's great to develop that trust and friendship. On a whole host of areas. Not just strict. Here's your legal advice on this particular problem.
Yeah, because they want to know how they can get around it, lower their risk, whatever it is. It's true, and they need to know that you have their back.
Totally.
So, okay, we're almost at the end, but I have like a couple fun questions to ask you.
Okay, fun questions. Bring them on.
So, you live in New York City. What's your favorite New York restaurant at this time?
So I have so many restaurants I love. Also, again, somewhat of a foodie. I think that during the pandemic, I went Amelie was one of my go-tos, which
Mm,
is a Mediterranean restaurant,
I
just
know it.
always very consistent, fabulous food. They had a great outdoor space if you wanted that. Something that really I thought was amazing too, still amazing, is a Sushi Lab. I love sushi. Have you been to this?
We were supposed to do this. We had plans to go before the pandemic.
I know.
So, but I haven't been yet.
So I think that, they really did a wonderful, it's outdoor, but it has a lot going on. You feel indoors. It has heat lamps. They have a very creative menu, very top sushi, and they just have a lot of fun with it. Things are always, changing up, and it's just such a nice atmosphere. It was very uplifting to go. So that was also someplace I frequented.
I love that. Okay, and then what books have you read most recently?
So I finished recently American Gods, which is, I love Neil Gaiman. He's one of my favorites. And this was something that became a series, which actually I've read most of his stuff, but I watched the series first on this one. And it was so great that I then went to go read the book. Also, I guess, he just had a series, Good Omens, which has David Tennant and Michael Sheen, which is really just brilliant too. So that's something I enjoyed.
Oh my gosh, amazing. All right, everyone, now you have stuff to do. You have stuff to fill your free time.
When you're done with Squid Games, which I know everybody is trying to see right now,
Yeah.
or Invasion, actually, that just started, another alien type, fantasy sci-fi series on Apple. So
Oh my
that's
gosh.
sort of my thing.
I watch like one scary show a year. That's it. That's my limit. I watch Squid
Okay.
Games.
That qualifies, right?
Yeah. No, and I like started watching You. Have you heard of You?
I have, and I did see the first season of that,
It's
and it was really so different and really good. But yes, scary.
I like started the first third season and I was like, you know what? I'm awful. Okay. I'm that person that will skip pages in the book to find out. My husband thinks there's something wrong with me. Like I'm a sociopath. I will skip pages to find out like what happens. Like I don't
All
care
right.
about the pros and the like what's going on. I just want to know. And I did that with You. I like Googled the last episode spoilers. I'm like, oh, okay, now I know. It's like, what's wrong
Yeah,
with
no,
you?
it's funny. I think there are definitely like two camps on that, like no spoilers or yes, please spoil.
Like I want them.
Right, yeah. So you can get those usually these days. Everything's posted immediately everywhere.
It's so funny. Yeah. Okay, Pamela, we're coming up to the end. I will ask you one more thing. Do you have any tips for people now who are looking, I would just sum it up with like younger students or lawyers who are looking to pivot into in-house in this COVID like environment. Do you have any tips for people?
Sure. And I think it's going to be a little bit similar to, what I had said before about getting into the fame space. I think that really, try to, I didn't know this as much as a junior attorney, but I think it's so incredibly important to get involved in your legal community.
Mm-hmm.
So, join the bar associations.
That's how we met.
That's how we met. And, join, something that might be related to, a field that, if you are an intellectual property attorney, INTA, definitely, that's for trademarks, which is such a, great organization that has many events, and you really get to know people in the space that you want to go into. So really develop that, and let everybody know that you're looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
It takes a village, as they say.
True.
So I would say, if folks that are working in-house, tell them, hey, that's, something that you might be interested in pivoting into at some point to keep their, eyes and ears open if anything comes up that sounds like something you might be interested in. I've definitely had that, in my career where, positions I have moved into are things that others have let me know about because,
Mhm.
again, we're all kind of, hearing different things in the world, and your reach is really your, community's reach.
It's so true. It's everything. I always talk about it. I have a law school mastermind kind of like group coaching thing that I do with students, and
That's
that's the,
great.
yeah. On top of everything else. No, but that's the golden rule I talk about is like networking and building a community. And one of the main things is getting involved in your local bar associations because like you said, it's a community and you're going to start seeing the same people and recognize, and then you end up building real, what I call the purpose of networking is to build real, authentic relationships, right? These are going to be your clients and
Not
friends.
express that part of it enough. I mean, again, it's, sometimes the word networking, it feels a little transactional to me.
Yeah.
But I think put yourself out there in the community and, develop authentic, real friendships that, last over time. And that's your community, and everything comes from that. Right.
Yeah.
So, they always say, like, instead of gathering 50 business cards, just see, do you actually have a connection with someone, and that's who you should stay in touch with.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. Thank you, Pamela. And so if people want to connect with you, should they connect on LinkedIn?
Sure.
Okay, great. Okay, everyone. Pamela, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks to everyone who watched live. This is also going to be the recording, and share with your friends because there's a ton of tips in here that Pamela said. Pamela, I can't wait to see you this weekend, see the pictures of this weekend.
I know that will be a lot of fun. And thank you so much for having me. This has been really a lot of fun.
I'm so
So,
glad. Okay, goodbye, everyone.
take care.